everyone. We are so glad you are here with us today. We have this awesome conversation coming up. Our episode today is Yay for Empathy. So we're talking all things empathy, building community in the classroom. We are with book creator and Empatico today. And we cannot wait to just talk all things connecting. So if we wanted to go ahead and get started, if you don't know much about Book Creator, it is an amazing tool. The link to this book actually in Book Creator that we created for this presentation today will be linked up here in YouTube for you to check out. So all kinds of videos and links, ideas, and I think that you'll just be ready to jump right in once you check out what it has to offer. I'm going to throw it over to Lauren from Empatico. So Empatico is new to us here at YaySTEM, and we are so excited to hear more about the mission with Empatico and how you have worked closely with Book Creator.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, the general us at Empatico. My name is Lauren, and I am the Educator Community Manager at Empatico. And so I would love to just talk a little bit about what we are and why we do what we do. We are a free online learning tool for educators where we connect classrooms all over the world. And we also have a curriculum directly in our website and activities for educators to use with the end goal of building empathy amongst our students all over the world. They're our next generation of change makers. And we firmly believe that in the 21st century, the skills that are going to be super, super important are those empathy skills, right? We've got an ever-changing global landscape, economic landscape, all of that. Those things are changing. Also, we've got AI. We cannot deny that AI is here and it is changing what school looks like, what learning looks like, what life will look like as we move forward. And so we firmly believe that building those social emotional skills, those connection skills, those empathy skills are going to be the base of what we all need as we move forward in this world. As I mentioned, it is completely free for educators. I will also mention that it is educators that are on our platform, so we don't collect any student data, any individual student data. Those are some questions that we often get from people. And really what it is you log on to our platform at edu.empatico.org and you create your free account. And from there, you can begin connecting with other classrooms all over the world. You send out connection requests, wait to hear back from them. You wait for other people to send you connection requests. And we also have an entire activity library that has activities ranging from 5 minutes long to 60 minutes long. All of those activities build different empathy-related skills. We at Empatico we've developed what we call the empathy framework, which takes empathy and breaks it down into 9 empathy-related skills. When you think about it, empathy is a really large concept. It's also one that everybody has a slightly different definition of. I think the first one that comes to mind is usually putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, but there's so much more that goes into empathy. And so what we've done is we've broken that down into 9 empathy-related skills, and all of the activities within our library, they build those skills. It'll say there in that activity which skill it's working to build. All of that is free. So, excuse me, that is my dog reverse sneezing in the background. If you heard that, I'm so sorry. I was very nervous that was going to happen. But yes, so basically, once you create your account on the Empatico platform, you send out connection requests, you begin connecting with other educators all over the world. And then we've got activities in our library that are research-based. We've also developed activities in partnership with Kahoot, Flip, Book Creator, all in Greater Good Science Center, code.org. We've got a lot of good resources in there to explore. As I mentioned, just all with the end goal of building empathy amongst our students. So thank you again for having me here today. I see David's here. Hey, David. Just talking about how incredible, Book Creator has been such a great partner. They also hold at the base of everything that they do, that idea of building empathy. And it's been cool to figure out ways to work together.
Thanks, Lauren. I really appreciate that. So sorry for being late. And thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be here and a pleasure. Just a little bit about Book Creator before I hand it over. Book Creator is the easiest way for teachers and students to create digital books online and publish their content around the world. And we've seen tremendous success with all students in classrooms all over the world creating and making books and publishing them online. And that impact has enabled projects like what Amanda will share to have a global reach because of our platform's accessibility. So I'm really, really excited to be here and to be talking to you about empathy. It's almost kind of a dream to be included into this because our platform really is this blank slate that students can use to express themselves, to show what they know, to build portfolios, or to build comic books. And so I'm so excited to be able to listen and share this global comic book project that we'll be talking about with Amanda.
All right, Amanda.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Amanda Schaefer. I'm a middle school environmental art teacher in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And the Global Comic Project was kind of a culmination of multiple things, but it is a way for kids to connect globally and to sort of build more empathetic citizens. And using comic as a framework for that by allowing kids to be able to express themselves in this sort of unassuming medium. Everybody loves comics. Everybody loves to think of themselves, especially teenagers, and this idea of almost like superpowers, right? So the idea with this project was to be able to allow kids to tell their story and to be able to connect with kids everywhere. So Empatico was a pretty important tool for being able to connect with educators. I was able to meet 134 educators in 34 countries this way and to be able to connect. And the other really cool tool is being able to use Book Creator for this because it does allow this platform for everybody to be able to share and learn from each other's story. So this is just sort of a website, and I wanted to keep it very open-ended so that any educator anywhere in the world would have an entry point, even if they weren't an art student. So there are videos and tutorials that would compensate for any deficit. And I wanted to break down those barriers really of like time, space, geographical locations, and language. And I felt like Book Creator was really awesome that it translates, I believe, in like 132 languages. That might not be the right number, but and that has been huge for the project, the Global Comic Project, because it does read and translate in any language. So my students are now learning from kids all over the world, from Serbia to Israel to Iraq. And it's been fascinating to sort of hear how they're learning and growing from that. The other really cool part we sort of talked about earlier was that they can see the analytics of where their book was read. And it's really, I think, empowering for kids to be able to hear, I know that their voice and that their story matters to somebody else. You know, I think sometimes we get in a narrow sort of bubble, and this has allowed kids to really learn from each other, from stories of migration to stories of war to stories of just family and what it's like to be a kid in the world in 2023. And as we look at how to innovate and solve complex problems, I love that this is a tool. You know, I really believe it all begins with empathy. I know in the Empatico framework where we talk a lot about perspective taking, being able to have that, not just being in somebody else's shoes, but how do we then take action towards that? So it's really nice too, is another component of this that's specific to climate change and being able to look at things like, again, those complex global problems that is really going to take everybody to innovate through it. So if you look at the website, there are all kinds of things from lessons to presentations for educators. These are just some of the lessons that lead up to kids developing comics, from thinking sequentially to connecting image to text. So there's, again, all kinds of entry points for K through 12. All students have an ability to be able to find an entry point in this project. So there's the website that you can go check out. You can see more information. Also, another way that people can get involved is just follow our progress, see what's happening. So that is the class Twitter and Instagram account that anybody can follow us.
That's so awesome. I want to get on right now and create one and share it with everybody I know. And I love this piece because, you know, when we're thinking about learning about other cultures and the day in the life of someone else, it's really hard for students to think beyond where they currently live or the students they're looking at currently or the class down the hall. So this is just amazing. And it really does show how one idea can spark so much.
Yeah, and I teach high school biomedical sciences, and so we spend a great deal of time on empathy, whether a topic is a disease, and the kids have to learn about different diseases they've not been exposed to, or like, even today we're talking about a patient having a baby, and the kids are asking me, if you're not born in the United States, do they still do genetic testing? And I said, well, I don't know. And so, you could bridge really neat science, high-end empathy projects through Empatico and Book Creator. So I'm with Karisa. I mean, you could just dive in forever. I will say this in general about using Book Creator. We all three of us use it a lot. And I have found it doesn't matter how old they are, they love it. There's just something about how pro they are when they're done with it. And one of the things I was telling Karisa a few weeks ago, and Amanda, now you've totally sold me on it, is I was telling her I really want to do a project. We do these very complex functioning things. And I really felt like doing a comic was the way to go. And then Karisa was like, oh my gosh, Elaine, you got to get in Book Creator. You can drop in these comic slides. And so now you've convinced me. And again, for a student, and it doesn't matter the discipline, to be able to create a book with the visual and the words, I mean, they're teaching it. And so we're at that highest level of learning that sticks with them forever. And then I can share it to home and they can see these amazing things they've made. So I've been sold on Book Creator for a while, but wow, I think we get stuck in our little world that it's just my classroom, and you guys have just really demonstrated we're bigger than that using these tools.
I love it. I love how the fact that students can use a voice, that most quiet student that doesn't want to share out loud has an opportunity to share their voice and have it heard. And I cannot wait to dive into this. I'm so excited to learn from both of you on this topic, and it just seems endless. I love the fact that I'm learning so much about Book Creator in general, and the fact that like just recently with my first graders, we've been using Book Creator as that like a whiteboard kind of thing, like where they're using that comic book section after they've researched something or talked together as a group. They kind of sticky note something in and discuss, and then that way they can share their thoughts, and then we can dive into it as a group afterwards. But just I can't wait to share with somebody in a different country. Wow, this is amazing.
It's totally amazing. So we're doing something on a smaller scale. I was telling David about Elaine helped, like we all kind of talk about things all the time. So an idea Elaine had where her students in the past have created books to share with younger students to read, then morphed into this idea when I met with a chemistry teacher at the high school about his students creating the book, The ABCs of Chemistry, right? And empathizing and learning how to write something at a level that a first grader could read and understand, or a third grader, a fourth grader. So I don't know if I bit off more than I could chew. Dayna, you're going to be totally supportive tomorrow. Right? I know. So here's the idea. He has 3 class periods where he teaches this class at the high school. So we set up 3 different libraries. We shared those codes with the other 3 elementary classes. So Dayna's one of them, first grade. We have a 3rd grade class and a 4th grade class participating. they're going to go in and do a Google Meet tomorrow in breakout rooms for the first time, talk about their book, plan their book. The older students are going to write the text and the younger students are going to illustrate. And so I know this is on a much smaller scale, but we are trying to bridge the gap and have these high school mentors working with these elementary students. And here's kind of the best part. I think some of these high school mentors are probably the students that are quieter and maybe haven't found their voice or haven't felt, a lot like a leader. And I told this teacher, these students are going to feel like leaders. They're going to be the ultimate mentors to these younger students. And then this is their final project. I was talking to David about it. How amazing when you think about a project that actually means something more than just taking a test, but being able to work virtually with a younger student, take the time to finish the book in between, and then they're going to meet again next week during their finals time to read the book together and talk about the book together and reflect. But this is so exciting, though, that we have platforms that support teachers. I mean, Book Creator has supported me the whole way. Anytime I've had a question or a thought about how would this work, I'm so glad that we really have platforms out there that care about the student piece and the educator piece, because that's how we're getting these things done.
And with the Patago, I mean, it's such a guide for those people who don't know what do I do next?
Yeah.
I want to show empathy and have my kids learn empathy, but what direction do I go? And you have all those resources available, and wow, what a great opportunity for so many to be able to dive into.
I just love the collaboration, and to hear Amanda and the comic book project. It's just really cool to see all these different, we talked about like empathy encompassing all these different skills that are at different levels. And this is such a good example of incorporating those skills at different levels all at once. You've got self-awareness, like that's so important when you're writing something, when you're writing your story, whether it's your story or whether you're writing something that's a bit more scientific, whatever the topic may be, you're still thinking about how you take in information, right? And if it's your story, you're thinking about your story, it's all self-awareness, but then also thinking about perspective taking. How is somebody going to take in this information that's not me? And then also like working together, that's collaboration, diplomacy, all of those skills that are a part of empathy. And so it's just such an incredible way to see all of those skills come together. So I just thank you, Amanda, for sharing this with us. It's really cool.
I think my favorite part has just been kind of watching how the community has grown globally, locally. And I think when kids feel that they have a part in a community, whether it's a local community, a larger community, a global community, they see themselves and they see that their action, even small action, can have big results. And so this project has been, again, I just keep going back to, it's been super empowering for kids everywhere. And I love hearing your stories about how you're connecting kids from different age levels. I think one of the, that transition from middle school to high school is so tough. And being able to have a buddy that you already know that is at those different grade levels is such a huge, I think, step in the right direction of already making kids feel more comfortable and successful in the educational system, where sometimes, like you said, the quiet kids get lost or just kind of fly under the radar. And, projects like this not only spotlight kids in all abilities, but gives a place for their stories to be heard, even atypical stories. And when kids hear from each other, I had a student that wrote a story about, that was a student that just is new to the United States from Venezuela. And this title of the story was Venezuelan Crisis. So they told their perspective about what is happening in politics in Venezuela. And the whole class was basically crying because it's this very unique perspective.
I read that book. It was moving. It was very moving to see that comic in the library. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm sitting here hearing all of the words that we work so hard to make sure Book Creator enables, first, like authenticity, collaboration, leadership, and creativity. So I'm just so excited that the Book Creator can be a part of this and that it's the one that was picked, so to speak. But it's just fabulous to hear everyone talking about the way that it's being used. And I think that's really the power of this community. And when it's just unleashed like this, with platforms like Empathico, where people can really connect. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you've taken two really great tools, Amanda, with Empathico and the empathy and book creator, and you've given these kids a voice. I think sometimes they're looking for that, right now we all know and they feel, I don't know how much they feel, that the world's it's a mess. And there's a lot of things they care deeply about that they can now share with the world. Right. And really, your example you just gave about what's it really like in Venezuela. We in America have a perspective of, well, there's a lot of people coming to our country and escaping Venezuela, but that's just a thought. It's just news. And now a child's very powerful voice, I think they feel like they're not listened to. I think they feel like that their lane is TikTok and that's it. And you've given them it just really gives me so many incredible ideas about how we can give kids voice while teaching about the world they live in.
That's beautiful.
We're not only educating our kids and they're educating others with these kind of resources, but they're also developing a change and a
yes,
just the start of an idea that may later on roll into something totally different, and that can make a change. It may not be necessarily tomorrow, but because their voice is heard later on, that it'll just roll into something else, and that's exciting.
It is exciting. It's exciting that their work can be published to the whole world, because I think we don't ever feel that. I mean, I think that all at least Dayna and Karisa and I grew up in a world where it had to be published and put in the library, and that's accessible to some, but not very many. And this now, every kid can be an author. Every person can publish.
Well,
I love it.
I was going to say the other relevant part is being able to not just publish, but to see where their published work is going. Because, I think that they publish frequently on things like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, but to see who's reading their book, where, and how is really powerful, because now there's this data to support what's happening.
Yeah, that's a huge piece, because, I know a lot. I mean, a first grader doesn't know, all of those countries and those places, and that gives them an opportunity when my kids get on there, and other kids. There's so many that don't really know locations in the world, and it just gives them an idea of, oh, well, what's this place all about? And then teachers can dig into that and research more about that country or that place, because their book is being read there. It's awesome.
The impact knows no bounds, right? That's what we try to teach kids, that you don't have to be an adult to be a change maker. And most of the time, kids are better at making change than we are, right? And initiating things and asking questions and being those forward thinkers. So I am so excited to keep this partnership and to continue chatting with you ladies and keep in touch and see how the project's going. And we're going to share the project on our end. We're sharing it with Indiana right now, right? And all of our listeners out there. So Dayna and Elaine, why don't you kind of take us home here, and then people know how to reach out to us, obviously, to connect more or talk more about this. Because I think, this is the most important part of education right now, teaching kids how to be thinkers and teaching them how to think about others, that empathy piece.
Yeah, so we're really excited about our spring. We go to the second Monday of the month in the spring, so we're back January the 8th. And we have kind of gotten on this kick of bringing in some visitors, and let's hear from other people. So January, we're doing Yay for Flip, and the king of Flip, Andy Knieve, is coming to be with us, and we're so excited about that. So we hope that you join us in January. And then later that week, January the 11th, if any Indiana listeners are out there, the Indiana STEM Education Conference is going on at Purdue University, and YaySTEM will be speaking there as well.
Again, we're so thankful for Amanda, David, and Lauren joining us and just helping us educate us about new things that we can do with our students and new directions we can go. Anybody who wants to see a past stream, go on over to YouTube and see a little bit more of YaySTEM. And also check this out anytime you want on YouTube to get those handles that you might not have seen if it was going too quick for you. But we love your feedback. If you have any feedback that you could give us, we'll share it with our guests if it has to do something with that. But again, you can always contact us anytime you have an idea. We would love to connect, just like we're thankful to be able to connect with our friends today. Thanks so much. Have a great holiday. YaySTEM!
YaySTEM!
YaySTEM.
Yay.